Jackson Smith, and this is a second grade math lesson for Thursday, April 30th, 2020. If you have already watched all the other videos and done all of your classroom work for this week, so from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, then that means that you're ready to learn with me in this video. In this video, we're going to be kind of adding on to what we've been learning this week about partitioning shapes and equal parts. You guys have done such an amazing job this week, and so I'm really, really excited for what we get to do today. To learn with me today, just make sure, just like all the videos this week, you have paper, something to write with, and your brain, of course. This week we have learned that fractions have halves, thirds, and fourths, and that fractions are parts of a whole shape that are equal parts. They're the same size, and that if you put all of them together, they make one whole shape. So today, we are going to partition shapes into equal parts to show fractions of a whole shape. So sometimes I'm going to show you fractions of a shape that have a shaded area. And we're going to answer questions about that and think about how many pieces we'd have to put together to make one whole. So to get all warmed up, we are going to do a story problem with fractions. And then you're going to watch me do a little bit of things with fractions, and then we're going to practice together, and then you're going to answer some questions on Google Classroom on your own. So let's get started with our story problem. Our first step is read, then we're going to draw, then we're going to write. So let's read this problem. I'm going to read it out loud. You can follow along these words. So it says, Miss J.S. got a pizza and she ate 1/4 of it. How much pizza is left over? So I boxed 1/4 because that tells me exactly how much pizza she ate. We want to find out how much pizza is left over. So she started off with one whole pizza, she ate 1/4, and then how much pizza is left over. So to start off, I want you to get your pencil ready and draw a circle to represent that pizza. That circle is going to represent the whole pizza that Miss Jackson Smith started with. Now that you're done drawing your circle, let's go back to the story and think, how should I partition this shape to show the equal parts? In my story, it says Miss J.S. ate 1/4. So how many equal parts are you going to make on this pizza? If you thought 4, you're right, because fourths are 4 equal parts. So let's go ahead and partition our shape into 4 equal parts. When we do this with circles, usually we draw one vertical line and one horizontal line. Go ahead and try that. So I drew one vertical line like this. You can copy it if you want. And then I drew one horizontal line. If you're all done with that, we're ready to keep going. If not, just press pause. So my drawing is supposed to represent my story. In my story, it says Miss J.S. got a pizza and she ate 1/4 of it. So in my drawing, before I answer my question, I need to shade in part of the pizza to show how much Miss J.S. already ate. So she ate 1/4. That means we are going to shade in one part of my pizza. So I shaded in 1/4, and you can go ahead and shade in yours too. And I labeled it 1/4. Then I went ahead and labeled all my other parts 1/4 also, just to show how much is left over. Next, I'm going to go to write a number sentence and an answer statement. Writing a number sentence for this is a little bit unusual, but let's think about parts and wholes. We started off with one whole. And then we took away one part because Miss J.S. ate that part, right? And we want to find out how much pizza is left over. So we had 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4 left over. That's 1, 2, 3/4 were left over. So my number sentence might be 1 whole minus 1/4 equals 3/4. I started off with 1 whole, then I took away one part that was 1/4, and then I'm left over with 3/4. Or I could write I started with 4/4, I took away 1/4, and I had 3/4 left over. Both of those ways of writing that number sentence are totally correct and make sense with my picture. My last step is I need to write an answer statement. And this is always my favorite part because I get to go back to the story and think, what was going on in the story and how did we solve the problem? So the problem was we wanted to find out how much pizza is left over after Miss JS eats 1/4. So I'm going to start off by saying that there are 3/4 of the pizza left over. 3/4 is my answer of how much pizza is left over. There's 1, 2, 3/4 of pizza left over. I'm all done with my story problem, and it's time for me to show you a little bit of the kind of problems that we're going to work on in our Google Classroom work for today. So let's quickly remember that fractions are equal parts of a whole object. So here, 2 halves make a whole. So there's 1/2 and another half. Here, 3/3 make one whole. So this is 1/3, 2/3, 3/3 makes one whole. And here, 4/4 make one whole. Count it with me. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. So if I look at this picture of this fraction, I might ask, what fraction of the whole is shaded? Well, first I think there are 3 equal parts. So that means that there are thirds because there's 3 equal parts. Let's count them. 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts. So that's 3 equal parts. Then I think only one of those equal parts is shaded. So that means there's 1/3. There's 1 part and the parts are thirds. So my answer to what fraction is shaded, I would write down 1/3. I could also ask, what fraction do you need to color to make a whole? I think first, I know that 3/3 would equal 1 whole. But I only have 1/3 shaded and there's 2 more thirds left to fill in. So my question asked, what fraction do you need to color in to make a whole? I'm starting off with 1/3, but I need to color in 2 more thirds to fill in the whole. So my answer is to make one whole, I need to color in 2/3. So 2/3 is my answer. So now let's practice a couple more just like that. Let's look at this fraction, and we're going to answer part A. So write down A on your piece of paper. What fraction is shaded? So our first step was to think how many equal parts are there in this picture. Count the parts with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 equal parts, so I'm going to write down fourths. Go ahead and write down fourths. My next step is think how many parts are shaded, because the question's asking what fraction is shaded. So let's count the shaded parts. 1, 2. So I'm going to write down 2/4, and we're all done with part A. Go ahead and write down part B. Now listen to me. What fraction needs to be colored to make one whole? So what fraction do we need to color in to make one whole? I notice that there's 2/4 shaded in, but I still need to color in 2 more fourths to make a whole. So my answer is 2/4. I need to shade in 2/4 to make a whole. Great job with this one. Let's try another. Look at this picture, and our first step is how many parts is the shape partitioned into? What fraction is shaded? I'm partitioned into 1, 2 parts, and so that means we're dealing with halves. And I see 1 part is shaded. So I could write down 1 part is shaded, and the parts are halves. So I'd say 1/2. And what that means is that what fraction needs to be colored in to make one whole? We still need to color in 1/2 to make a whole. If you're ready for the next one, let's keep going. If not, just press play. This is our last one. Look at this picture, and I want you on your own to write down what fraction is shaded. think about how many parts we have and then how many are shaded in. There are 1, 2, 3 parts shaded in, so I'm going to write down 3. But if I want to know what fraction to write down, I need to count how many parts there are total. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. If there's 4 equal parts, then it's fourths. So I have 3 fourths. Next, I want to think what fraction needs to be colored to make a whole. I need to color in 1 more part, so to make a whole, because there's 1 empty part, and that part is a fourth, because it's one of 4 equal parts. So I need to shade in 1/4. Amazing job today. Your next step is to go over to Google Classroom and complete and submit your math practice for Thursday on Google Classroom. In that math practice, you're going to do a lot of problems just like what we did in this video, and I'm really excited to see what you can do on your own. You guys are the most amazing second graders in the whole world, and I miss you very much. I am really excited to look at your work, and I'm excited to learn with you again in the next video. Bye for now.